Manipulation. Published by Women of Faith. How does the Bible define manipulation? The Bible does not use the word manipulation directly, but it clearly addresses deception, control, and dishonest influence, which are the core elements of manipulation. Biblically, manipulation is rooted in selfishness, deceit, and a desire for control, rather than truth, love, or righteousness. Manipulation is rooted in deception. Manipulation often involves twisting the truth, misleading others, or using subtle pressure to achieve personal gain. The Bible strongly warns against deception, as it is the very nature of Satan. John chapter 8 verse 44, "You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies." Satan himself used manipulation in the Garden of Eden when he deceived Eve into doubting God's word. Genesis chapter 3 verses 1-5. His tactic was to mix truth with lies, leading Eve to question God's motives and act against his command. This is the essence of manipulation, distorting truth for selfish purposes. Manipulation seeks control over others. Manipulation is often about exerting control over people, situations, or outcomes rather than trusting God. The Bible warns against those who use deceit and trickery to influence others for their own benefit. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 13-15, "For such people are false apostles, deceitful workers, masquerading as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light." Manipulators disguise themselves as trustworthy, kind, or spiritual while seeking to influence others for their own selfish motives. This can be seen in false teachers, abusive relationships, and corrupt leadership. Manipulation uses guilt and fear. A common tactic of manipulation is using guilt, fear, or pressure to control others. This is not of God, because he leads through love and truth, not fear and coercion. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." A manipulative person may try to make others feel guilty for setting boundaries, question their worth, or use fear to control decisions. However, God's way is freedom, wisdom, and personal accountability, not emotional manipulation. Manipulation is opposed to honesty and integrity. God calls his people to walk in honesty, integrity, and truth, the opposite of manipulation. Manipulation relies on hidden agendas, half-truths, and emotional coercion, whereas God desires openness and sincerity in our relationships. Proverbs chapter 10 verse 9, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25, "Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another." Christians are called to be honest and direct in communication rather than using manipulation to get what they want. God calls us to trust him, not manipulate situations. Many times, manipulation stems from a lack of trust in God's timing and provision. Instead of forcing outcomes, the Bible teaches us to trust God's wisdom, be patient, and act righteously. Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5-6, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." When we feel tempted to manipulate situations or people, we should remember that God is in control, and we do not need to use deception, fear, or guilt to achieve his will. Biblically, manipulation is a form of deception, control, and selfish ambition, which is opposed to God's way of truth, love, and integrity. Instead of manipulation, Christians are called to walk in truth and honesty. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 25. Trust in God's plan and timing. Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5-6. Lead and influence with love and humility, not control. Philippians chapter 2 verses 3-4. If you recognize manipulation in your own actions or from others, ask God for wisdom and discernment to walk in truth and integrity. He is faithful to guide you in his ways. God's heart on manipulation.